Quran is given to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam munajjaman. Munajjaman means gradual. So gradually the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to receive the message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even the non-Muslim, the non-believers, they question him for that. Why the Torah that was given to him the whole thing was given to him entirely. Why Quran is different? Because he receives the Torah, Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, he received the whole tablets. He came back with them to his people. And this is what we know to be the nature of those books that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave their own people. They came at once. Everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have to mention in those books, it is mentioned before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them the book. It wasn't like our own book, which is Quran. But look at the reply Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them. He said, كَذَلِكَ لِنُثَبِّتَ بِهِ فُؤَادَكَ وَرَتَّلْنَاهُ تَرْتِيلًا. We have given you the Quran so that we will make it firmly established in your heart. You will find it very easy to memorize. When you memorize it, you will not forget it. And that's why it is the best way to memorize Quran. There are some advertisement from some website that some people they memorize Quran in 5 days. Someone told me in 10 days. I said impossible. So then I saw 5 days. I said okay, it's better to accept the 10 days. Easier. All of those memorization, I'm telling you, if it is not something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put in the mind, someone who is exception, the memorization will never be strong. If that is possible, a normal human being can memorize Quran in 5 days. If that is possible, I'm telling you, this is an exception. Out of 1 million, maybe one person. So Quran is supposed to be memorized gradually. If you really want to keep it with you, whatsoever you memorize in the way the Prophet ﷺ took the Quran, I'm telling you, it is not easy for you to miss it. This is the experience. So for those of you who are memorizing Quran, take this lesson. Take it slowly. Go gradually. Don't take more than what you can memorize in a day. Especially for the people who are new in memorization. Don't go like this. This is what they told us. One of my teachers, he advised someone to memorize 1 ayah in a day. He said, no, that's too little for me. He met him after a year. Brother, what happened? How many juz now you have? He used to say so little. He asked him, he said, no, nothing. Not even 1 juz. He said, had you accepted my advice and you started memorizing ayah in a day, now you have more than a juz. Because you're going to have 300 and how many in a year? 365 verses in a day, in a year. That's more than a juz. But unfortunately, he did not make use of the advice. That's why he lost. So I can remember when I was memorizing, the father did not memorize Quran. And I did it based on my own willing. That's why it works, alhamdulillah. I got some sheikh. I never saw someone reading Quran like him. Yeah. He used to be a university student. He doesn't go to his family after the holidays. I used to go see him reading Quran. Leave him reading Quran. He always stopped to sleep or eat. In the night I would come out, sometimes I would see him out of jinn, out of the house reading. He was the first person to motivate me in memorization of the Quran. And I started with him. So I learned these things, how to go with them gradually. So I remember when I was I talked to the father. The father was very strict and he asked me to take only 5 lines in a day. So I thought, that's too much, too little. But I was patient and it really helped me because it trained me, because when I was starting, even to read the Quran was not easy. So that was the only thing that saved. But at that time I was so eager to finish the Quran because the Shaykh told me that if you finish it, in the hereafter your reward will be so great, and actually we're expecting you to be at the best position that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to give a human being after the prophets. That means Firdaus, your neighbor, it will be Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So alhamdulillah, I took it gradually. I reached a moment, this gradual experience helped me to reach a position whereby I memorize a surah in a day, which has more than 5 pages. And the Sheikh he did not want to believe. He said, it doesn't work, cannot. So I read it to him, he kept on telling others. So the reason why I'm bringing this, so that you will know that this is what other people experience. So start gradually if you really want to keep what you have memorized. So since I have talked about this, and I believe inshallah there are some people who are memorizing, so I will give you these tips before I move. When you memorize, don't you ever memorize Quran in a day. Don't memorize Quran in a day. Memorize it in the morning, before Fajr. After Fajr. After you pray, the first thing you should do is the recitation of what you have memorized yesterday. These are the tips to help you to keep it. I'm telling you, if you're patient, I gave some students some of this. They said it's too difficult, but they couldn't forget what they memorized in that way. Stick with them. There was a time one of the students was reading to me Surah Al-Isra. I asked him, how come it is like this? He said, no, your advice is working. He was punished in the way he was memorizing and revising, so it worked. He couldn't forget it. And I believe if I am to see him now, I ask him to read Surah Al-Isra, he will read it. Yeah. That's a benefit. So memorize it in the morning after Fajr. And the first thing you should do is to revise what you have memorized yesterday. Then before you move, take the new pages you want to memorize them, and then go. Then try as much as you can the whole day, spend it in those pages, new pages you memorize. The last thing you should do before you sleep, don't go to sleep without reading what you have memorized in that day. Read it without looking at the Quran first, and then go sleep. Bi-idhnillah, if you make it in this way, it is not easy for you to miss it. My Sheikh told me there is someone who read one juzu completely, he was sleeping, and there was no mistake. Someone was watching him, was following. A juzu, imagine 20 pages this Sheikh was reading, no mistake whatsoever. Imam Al-Amash, one of the greatest muhaddithin, and also one of the great people in terms of Quran. He led them in Taraweeh for 40 years. They said he never made a mistake, even one harakah. Nowadays, come and see the Imam in the Taraweeh. Allahumma musta'an. May Allah reward them, but come and see the way they read. They didn't know this in the past. There is someone who was righteous and then he became corrupt. After 5 years, he came back again. Remember this, after 5 years he has been absent from recitation of the Quran. After 5 years someone advised him to come back to Allah, he came. At that moment they were fasting Ramadan, so they begged him to be the Imam. Imagine, no revision, no anything, he led them in Tarawih prayer till the end. So how did he memorize the Quran? It was really memorization, not the way we are doing nowadays. I'm telling you, the reason why we cannot memorize Quran properly nowadays is because we are not memorizing it. Many people claim to be memorizing Quran, but in reality, I'm telling you the truth, they don't memorize Quran. They just go through it. Because memorization, you have to really memorize it when you are memorizing it the first time. So that means you should read it till you are satisfied that this one will never go. Sometimes you have to make it like Fatiha. Who knows when he memorized Fatiha? Who can imagine that he will forget Fatiha one day? There are some people that are like this in the Quran. So my advice to you, join the community of Quran, the people of Quran, because it's so great. There are a lot to be said here, but to save time, this is my simple advice to you. Memorize the Quran, but memorize it properly when you memorize it. Read it a lot, read it a lot. Read more than 100 times when you're memorizing before you leave.